The story begins with Melody, her sister Lila, and their friends Dante and Ruth traveling to the abandoned town of Harlow, Texas. The group consists of young urban influencers who have bought up properties in the town with the goal of auctioning them off to other like-minded investors. Their vision is to revitalize Harlow into a trendy, gentrified community. Upon arriving in Harlow, the group discovers that an elderly woman, Mrs. MC, still resides in an old orphanage. This orphanage is one of the properties they believe they own. Mrs. MC claims she has the right to stay there, but Dante insists that they hold the deed to the property. A tense confrontation ensues, which escalates when the police are called. During the altercation, Mrs. MC suffers a heart attack. The police and the group decide to take her to the hospital. Ruth accompanies her in the police van, while her adopted son, Leatherface, stays behind. Despite their efforts, Mrs. MC dies en route to the hospital, and this triggers Leatherface's dormant rage. Enraged by Mrs. MC's death, Leatherface, who has been living in hiding and leading a relatively peaceful life, returns to his violent ways. In the back of the police van, he brutally kills the two officers and Ruth. He then removes Mrs. MC's face and uses it to create a new mask, marking his transformation back into the monstrous figure of his past. Leatherface returns to Harlow, where Melody, Lila, and Dante are preparing for the auction. They are unaware of the horrors that are about to unfold. Leatherface first encounters Dante in the orphanage. He attacks Dante with a butcher knife, severely wounding him. Melody and Lila find Dante bleeding out and try to help him. However, Leatherface's presence becomes known, and the sisters realize they must escape. Dante dies from his injuries, and the sisters hide as Leatherface searches for them. Meanwhile, Sally Hardesty, the lone survivor of the original massacre, has been living as a hardened Texas Ranger. She receives news of the recent killings and deduces that Leatherface has returned. Fueled by decades of unresolved trauma and a thirst for revenge, Sally sets out to confront her old nemesis. Sally arrives in Harlow and finds the orphanage. She confronts Leatherface, but her revenge is complicated by her own fear and trauma. Despite getting some hits in, Sally is overpowered and mortally wounded by Leatherface. Before dying, she manages to injure him, providing a temporary reprieve for Melody and Lila. Melody and Lila, armed with Sally's encouragement and weaponry, fight back against Leatherface. They engage in a desperate battle throughout the town, using various tools and the environment to their advantage. The sisters exhibit resilience and ingenuity in their efforts to survive. In the climactic confrontation, Melody and Lila manage to trap Leatherface in a derelict building. Using a series of improvised tactics, they incapacitate him and leave him for dead. Believing they have finally defeated the monstrous figure, they prepare to leave Harlow. As they are about to drive away in their self-driving car, Leatherface emerges from the shadows. In a shocking and brutal twist, he drags Melody from the car and decapitates her with his chainsaw. Lila, horrified and helpless, is forced to watch as the car drives away on autopilot, leaving her to face the trauma alone.